Okay, so today we're going to do a deep dive into something pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It's EON Reality.
Uh-huh.
They just came out with the technical architecture documentation
Wow.
for their mission-based decision simulator.
Cool.
And for you, the listener, this is kind of like your cheat sheet or your shortcut
Yeah.
to understanding how this is going to transform
Right.
professional learning and decision-making.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, this isn't just some random new software we're talking about here.
No, not at all.
This is,
It's really
really meticulously designed
mm-hmm.
and leverages the power of AI and immersive VR and AR.
Yeah. And the documentation they've released, I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Really unprecedented insight into how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our mission today is to kind of
Yeah.
cut through all the technical jargon
Right.
and just the heavy details
Yeah.
and reveal the core innovations
Yeah.
and the potential of this simulator
For sure.
for you and for the future of professional development.
I think that's a really important thing to look at. Yeah.
So our primary source for this deep dive is the technical architecture document itself.
Okay.
Great. So let's just dive right into it.
Okay.
So what is this simulator all about?
Well, the core innovation is really in the fact that it moves away from like the abstract theoretical decision-making exercises, and it moves into something called immersive consequence-driven experiences.
Okay.
So think of it like instead of just reading a case study and answering some multiple choice questions, you're actually in the scenario facing real challenges.
Okay.
And your decisions have very real and visible consequences within the virtual environment.
Gotcha.
It's the difference between reading about flying a plane and actually being in the cockpit.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
So it's not about making choices in a vacuum anymore.
No, not at all.
And the documentation even provides a table outlining this contrast.
Yeah.
Can you highlight some of the key differences for our listeners?
Yeah, for sure. So one of the big shifts is you move from isolated choice points to interconnected decisions within a cohesive narrative.
Right.
Your actions aren't just single events. They set in motion a chain of consequences.
Oh, wow.
Much like in real life.
That makes sense.
Another key shift is in your role as the learner.
Okay.
You go from being just a generic user as an outside evaluator to a specific user as a responsible decision maker.
Okay.
And that's a really important change.
Right.
Because you're held accountable for the decisions that you make.
So you're not just like observing anymore, you're actually participating.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's where the learning really happens.
Right.
And then perhaps most powerfully, the impact of your decisions moves from abstract impacts, just described in text, to visible consequences that you can actually see and react to within the immersive world.
So it's really about making the learning visceral.
Exactly.
It's not just intellectual anymore. And the document points to some really impressive results.
It does, yes.
From this approach, doesn't it?
Yeah. They've actually found that there's a significant increase in learner engagement.
Wow.
And the quality of their decision-making goes way up.
Okay. They
report a 78% increase.
That's huge.
In the time that users spend actively engaged with the training.
Okay.
And a 65% improvement in the quality of their decisions.
Wow.
Compared to traditional methods.
Yeah, that's a pretty powerful, sort of testament to this approach.
Yeah, and I think it really shows that this immersive, consequence-driven approach is a lot more effective.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
So what are some of the technical elements that allow this simulator to deliver these kinds of outcomes?
Okay, so there are a few really important technical innovations that I think are really crucial.
Okay.
First, there's the consequential narrative architecture.
Okay.
This framework is really the backbone of the whole system.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It transforms each decision point into a genuine learning opportunity by ensuring that your choices directly shape the unfolding narrative and impact the virtual stakeholders involved.
Okay.
You learn most effectively by experiencing the consequences of your decisions in a safe and controlled environment.
Right.
So that's really important.
So the story itself is actually part of the teaching process.
It is, yeah.
Wow. Okay. What other technical innovations are driving these results?
Okay, well, another vital element is the adaptive decision pathway system.
Okay.
And this is really cool because the simulator actually adjusts the difficulty and complexity of the scenarios based on your performance.
Oh, wow.
So if you're mastering the challenges, it'll throw more intricate situations at you.
Okay.
But if you're finding it tough, it might offer more guidance or simpler scenarios to help build your confidence.
Right.
It's a really personalized approach, and it ensures a consistently positive and effective learning journey tailored to your individual needs.
That sounds like a much better way to learn
Yeah, it's really effective.
than like a static curriculum.
Yeah, for sure.
So how does the system help learners navigate these potentially complex immersive environments?
Right. Well, that's where multimodal annotation prioritization comes in.
Okay.
Imagine you're immersed in a very detailed 3D scene or a 360-degree environment just filled with information.
Right.
This system acts as an intelligent guide, using highlighting and cueing techniques to draw your attention to the most critical elements
Gotcha.
that you need to focus on to make an informed decision.
So it's kind of like a built-in tutor
It is.
within the simulation? And finally, how does the system assess learning and track progress?
Well, it does that through the comprehensive analytics framework. And this goes beyond just tracking right or wrong answers. It really delves into the process of your decision-making. So it analyzes the information you considered, the time you took to respond, the rationale behind your choices, and the effectiveness of your strategies.
So it's really thorough.
Yeah, it's really impressive.
And how does that data get used?
Well, this data provides really valuable insights, both for you, the learner, to understand your strengths and areas for improvement, and for trainers to fine-tune the learning experience for optimal growth.
Sounds like a really constructive approach.
Yeah, it is.
To assessment. Now, the documentation also highlights some of the real-world applications of this technology. Where is this being used?
Well, it's being used in a wide range of professional fields where good decision-making is absolutely critical. We're talking about areas like emergency medicine, where professionals face these really high-pressure situations, in hospital triage, disaster management, and crisis intervention.
Wow, so these are like real-world situations.
Yeah, exactly. High-stakes situations. It's also being applied in business strategy and resource allocation, helping leaders develop their strategic thinking and decision-making skills.
And what kind of results are they seeing in these real-world settings?
The initial results are really encouraging.
Okay.
Early implementations have shown that 65% improvement in decision quality.
That's amazing.
That we talked about before, along with that really impressive 78% increase in learner engagement.
Right.
And perhaps most importantly, users have reported a 72% increase in their self-reported professional confidence.
Wow. That's
after training with the simulator.
That's incredible.
It really speaks volumes about the positive impact on their preparedness and abilities.
Yeah, for sure. Are there any specific examples from these case studies that really highlight the skill development?
A couple stand out in emergency medicine. They have a mission called Code Blue, which simulates a critical patient situation. And it has resulted in a 63% improvement.
Wow.
In patient prioritization accuracy among medical professionals.
And that could be life-saving, right?
It could be, yeah, absolutely.
Hey, that's incredible.
And then in the business world, they have a mission called Pivot Point, which focuses on strategic decision-making. And they've shown a 68% improvement in business students' ability to articulate the strategic rationale behind their decisions.
That's amazing.
So these are really tangible improvements that highlight the real-world value of this training.
Wow. Okay, so it's not just about the technology itself.
Right.
The documentation also talks about the support that EON Reality provides for implementation. What does that look like?
Well, they provide comprehensive guidance outlining the technical requirements, a 7-phase content creation workflow to help develop customized mission-based scenarios and protocols for integrating the simulator with existing learning management systems.
So they've really thought about the practicalities.
Yes, they have.
Of using this system. What about the future of this technology?
Well, the future directions section of the document hints at some really exciting developments. One promising area is AI-driven consequence adaptation.
Okay.
So imagine the system using AI
Right.
to make the consequences of your decisions even more nuanced, personalized, and aligned with your learning needs and progress.
So even more tailored
Exactly.
to the individual.
Yeah, that's the future.
That's amazing.
Where the training becomes even more precise and effective.
Wow. So as we wrap up this deep dive into EON Reality's mission-based decision simulator, what are the key takeaways for our listener?
I think the main takeaway is that this technology represents a really significant step forward in professional training. It creates these engaging, consequence-rich, and adaptive, immersive experiences, and it's a more effective way to develop critical decision-making skills and ultimately fosters greater professional competence.
It sounds like this simulator offers a really powerful way to build and refine decision-making skills in a safe space, leading to, real improvements in performance.
Exactly.
And a boost in confidence.
Yeah, I think this is really prompting us to consider the wider implications as well. Think about the potential for this kind of technology to really cultivate expertise and enhance outcomes in any field where high-stakes decisions are made.
Yeah.
The potential impact is really huge.
It is, yeah. And it's worth thinking about how these tools could revolutionize learning and performance in your own area of interest or profession.
Absolutely.
So if you're interested in learning more,
Yeah.
Our discussion today is based on EON Reality's newly released technical architecture document, which you can find on the website. And they also have a lot of other great resources there.
They do.
So be sure to check out their podcast.
Yeah.
And the EON XR Spoken blog.
Yeah, those are great resources.
For even more insights. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
See you next time.
Bye.